Ever wonder where the money goes the personal injury attorneys get for their clients? Well, I happen to have that answer. Sit back and relax, and let me tell you, this will only take a few minutes. Hi, I'm Dave Buckley, and I'm a personal injury attorney. When you or a loved one are injured due to the carelessness or negligence of someone else to a point where medical care is required, that care is going to result in bills for those services that have to be paid. And how do they get paid? Well, from the money that the personal injury attorneys get for their clients. That's how. When a person receives money for a personal injury by way of a settlement or a verdict, whether it's $10,000, $100,000, $1 million, or whatever, that sum is called the gross recovery. And everyone you owe money to gets paid out of the gross recovery for the services provided related to that personal injury. Well, who's owed money? Well, there's at least going to be a couple of people. First, there's the personal injury attorney. Personal injury attorneys charge a contingency fee based on a percentage of the gross recovery, meaning they only get paid contingent on getting a recovery at the end of the case. No recovery, no fee. Plus, attorneys are reimbursed for their out-of-pocket costs that they had to pay on your behalf to get medical records and other documents. Maybe there were costs for experts that might have to be repaid to the attorney for fronting that cost on your behalf. Next, you also must pay back the cost of the medical care you received that was paid for by your insurance company or by Medicare or Medicaid. The hell, you say? Well, chances are that you think that if you've been injured through no fault of your own, the other person or the other person's insurance company is going to promptly cover your out-of-pocket medical costs, or that if your medical costs are paid for by your own medical insurance company, that those bills are all set and that you don't have to worry about them anymore. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. And people are often taken by surprise when I tell them after they've been to the hospital and gotten medical treatment for things like x-rays, CT scans, blood work, labs, physical therapy, or maybe even had surgery for injuries caused by the carelessness of someone else, that they, the injured party, are responsible for their own medical bills and out-of-pocket copays and deductibles. And that if they have private medical insurance like Blue Cross Blue Shield, or if they have Medicare or Medicaid or TRICARE or VA benefits or work comp benefits, that they get a personal injury settlement after having filed a claim or a lawsuit for the injury that they were caused to suffer through no fault of their own, that there are liens on their recovery and that they must pay back the health insurance company for what the health care company paid to get them the treatment that they needed in the first place. That's because with every private healthcare plan, there is language written into the terms of the service that say if you ever recover medical expenses in a personal injury case, then the medical insurance company must be repaid for what they paid out on your behalf. And there's no getting around that. For government-based plans like Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE, the VA, or workers' comp, there are actual laws that say the money that those plans paid out on your behalf must be repaid to them if you ever get a personal injury settlement that includes medical expenses. But here's the thing. Medical expenses are the value drivers of every personal injury case, and every medical provider charges the retail rate for the services, which is always the most expensive cost. But the retail rate establishes the actual value of the harm caused to you by the negligence of someone else. Therefore, the higher the medical bills, the higher the value of the case. After attorney's fees, costs, and medical bills have been paid from the gross recovery, the injured person gets the net remainder for their pain and suffering, which is typically tax-free. And that's because personal injury settlements are not considered income and therefore not taxable as income. And there are some exceptions to this, but that's the subject of another video. But if your case is handled properly, you can control how much of the medical bill you have to pay back. First off, a word of caution. Very often at the beginning of the claim, before an attorney gets involved, an insurance adjuster will call you up and tell you to send them the medical bills and that they'll pay them rather than your medical insurance company paying for the bill. Do not do that, because they will pay the retail rate of the medical bills. And that's really bad. You don't want that to happen. Here's why. Very early in the case, the insurance adjuster will establish the value of your case, and that's called establishing a reserve. They typically will not exceed the reserve, and it's a pretty fixed number, and that means your case has a finite value. And if the adjuster is paying your medical bills, they'll be paying the full retail price of the medical care provider services, meaning there will be less money to be paid to you for your pain and suffering, which is the net that you personally clear after the costs are paid from the gross recovery. Having your own medical insurance company pay for your medical bills is a good thing in the long run, because personal injury attorneys never pay retail. And by not paying retail, it puts more money in your pocket at the time of the resolution of your case. Well, let me explain that. As you've heard me say, every medical provider charges retail rates for their services, but they also have contracted rates of service with healthcare insurance companies. So let's say you broke your arm and you go to the hospital for an x-ray. If you don't have medical insurance, the out-of-pocket retail rate for that x-ray might be $100. But private insurance like Blue Cross Blue Shield might have a discounted contracted rate to pay $25 for x-rays. Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE, the VA, or work comp might only pay $5 for that x-ray. And why is this important for you to know? Here's why. What the medical insurance company actually pays for the medical service plays no part in the valuation of your case. It's the retail rate that matters. The retail rate establishes the value of the harm caused to you, not the discount rate. The other person's liability insurance company, the insurance company representing the person that harmed you or a loved one, is not allowed to value your case based on the $5 that Medicare paid for that x-ray, but rather they must value your harm based on the retail rate of the service rendered. That's the $100 they normally charge. The retail rate is the measure of your harm. That's called the collateral source rule, which is a little beyond the scope of this video, and I won't get into that here. But applying the retail rate to the medical services increases the value of your case. Let me explain. Let's say the retail rate of the medical services provided is $5,000, and that the discounted contracted rate that was paid for the medical services was $2,000, meaning Medicare only paid $2,000 despite the charge being $5,000. The insurance company handling your claim is supposed to measure the value of your harm by starting at the base of $5,000, not $2,000. They're not supposed to say, well, your insurance company actually only paid $2,000 to cover your medical bills, and it wouldn't be fair to us if we had to use the retail rate of $5,000, so we're going to give you $2,000 to start, and then maybe a little bit more to cover your pain and suffering. No, 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 no. They're supposed to start with the $5,000 retail rate of your care and work up from there to determine the value of your pain and suffering. But more and more, the insurance companies aren't doing this. They're starting from the discounted rate, and that's not fair to you. Remember how I said a few minutes ago that to never let the other person's insurance company pay your medical bills? Here's why. Let's say the reserve value of your case has been set at $15,000, and the other person's insurance company paid the full retail price of the medical care, say, of $5,000. If the case settles at this amount, your attorney will get 1/3 of that recovery, which is $5,000. The medical costs have been repaid at $5,000, leaving you with $5,000 for your pain and suffering. But by refusing to allow the other person's insurance company to pay the full $5,000 retail price of your medical bills, and rather letting your own insurance company pay the medical bill at their lower discounted contracted rate of $2,000, you have freed up $3,000 to be paid towards your pain and suffering. So on a $15,000 settlement, your attorney gets their $5,000 1/3 fee, the medical insurance company gets paid back their $2,000, and you wind up with a tax-free net of $8,000 going into your pocket for your pain and suffering. Now, I know it's tempting to jump at an early offer from the insurance company to just send them the bills, and I know that you might feel conflicted about using your own medical insurance coverage to pay for the harm someone else caused to you or a loved one, and that maybe you don't want to pay out of your own pocket towards your deductible. I understand money's tight, and this incident has put a huge financial burden on you and your family. But you have to be careful. There's no guarantee that the other person's insurance company will honor their offer to pay your medical bills. And despite what they say, and despite how nice they are, quite often they outright deny paying any of the medical bills you've submitted. The more likely scenario is that the insurance company will find a reason to deny your medical coverage altogether because you also signed a medical release form they sent you, and they read your medical records and claimed to have found that the condition you were complaining of was a pre-existing one, and therefore you get nothing at all because you were trusting of that very nice insurance adjuster who called you right away and offered to help you in your time of need. Yeah, right. Well, listen, you're not the first person to get hurt by someone else's negligence, and you won't be the last. And because so many people get hurt and killed every day through car crashes, slip and falls, animal attacks, medical negligence, an established process exists where claims can be made by the innocent party to address what was lost through no fault of their own. And this is why you hire an attorney. Attorneys know the system. We know the proper value of the case. We know the games the insurance companies play. We know how to hold those responsible for your injuries accountable. And we know how to make the insurance companies pay for the harm caused by their insurance. It just takes time. And yes, there will be stress and there will be anxiety, but you need to be patient. It will work out. An experienced personal injury attorney knows everything I've just told you. And not only that, but an experienced personal injury attorney will also know how to negotiate the already discounted contractually reduced medical bill to an even less amount that is originally owed, and thereby putting even more money in your pocket. My firm's been doing this for years. And the best thing you can do for yourself, if you or a loved one has been seriously injured or killed, is to call a personal injury attorney right away. The sooner you call, the better protected you will be to avoid any shenanigans the insurance adjuster may try to get you to have them pay the medical bills or sign any documents without having the assistance of counsel. Most attorneys don't even require you to come into their office anymore. Everything can be done by phone and computer, saving you time and inconvenience. And more to the point is that it costs you nothing to make that call. And personal injury attorneys, including myself, don't charge a fee for consultations. We don't charge a fee for our services unless we get a recovery for you. So there's absolutely no risk to you, but only the opportunity for you to get the largest gross recovery for the harm caused. Therefore, make that call. I'm Dave Buckley. I'm a personal injury attorney. I hope you're never in a situation where you're stuck having to pay medical bills for an injury caused to you or a loved one by someone else's negligence, but I'm here if you are. I have lots of other videos on personal injury, and there's a free ebook too, so check that out. Thanks for watching.